All right.
Hey everyone, this is Alexian. I'm here with the writer of the incredible story that's included in my game online via my email list. Her name is Maggie Fry. Say hi, Maggie.
Hi.
We're doing this on Zoom, so hopefully it's going to turn out clear enough. Our illustrator this evening couldn't make it, unfortunately, but I do have Maggie here, and we're just going to have a little discussion about the game, about her incredible story. And if you stay tuned at the end of this little talk, it's not going to be long, I'm going to actually share with you what the secret prize is that everyone can win if you complete the quests of the email list game, okay? So you don't want to miss that. So Maggie, I'm so happy that you said yes when I asked you to write this story. And my first question for you is, how did you come up with the idea for the storyline in general?
Well, you told me that you wanted it to be about zombies. And that was interesting for me because of all of the classic monsters that are out there, I love vampires, I'm fond of werewolves, aliens don't bother me too much, but I'm really terrified of zombies.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah, so this was kind of a personal challenge for me. If I when I have seen zombie movies, the whole concept of the reanimated flesh and eating people is quite disturbing. So I had to take a look at it, and I remembered a movie that I saw several years ago called Warm Bodies. It's based on a novel by Isaac Marion, and it was about a group of zombies that recovered. And so I decided there was hope. I'm not going to tell you what happens
Yeah,
or
don't give it
how,
away.
but I wanted something a little more. I wanted the characters to have some choice, basically, to be able to decide what their future was going to be. They would make a choice. So that's kind of where I went with that.
What was
Um,
your inspiration for the characters themselves? You know, like how did you go? I'm not a writer, so can you share a little bit about how you did the character development?
you know, I didn't. They just popped into my head. I sat down and I thought, well, I'm going to come up with an outline. And these two characters just came into my head. And the name Jordan definitely came in. And then the other character, I had some a little longer trying to figure out what that name should be. But they just were there from the start, and I would sit down and write an episode a day, and
It's
and
amazing.
it just came.
You're, you guys, if you haven't started reading her story, which is in the game, in the email list game, you're missing out because this story, and I have to share with you, Maggie, I may have told you this already, but I had no idea that you were this good of a writer. I was tearing up and crying because of the creativity and how good the story actually is, you know. And then, like, I actually read the first chapter to Victor, and he had the shocked look on his face. He was like, you know, it was like he was watching some sort of, you know, major motion Hollywood picture and something just happened, and he just was in shock just from the first, you know, chapter. And that's the feedback, by the way, that I'm getting from everybody who is participating. They're just blown away by the story. They're emailing me saying they can't wait to get the next episode. And you know, not everybody's tech savvy, so sometimes there's a couple of little hiccups or glitches, and they're like, Alexian, help, the zombie's gonna eat me. What do I do? What do I do? What did I do wrong? I don't want to miss the story. I don't want to miss the story. And it's that good, guys. It really is that good. It is amazing. And you have actually mentioned to me that you're thinking about developing this into a full-fledged novel.
Yeah, I one of the challenges for this was, of course, these episodes are going out on email. And I don't know about anybody else, but when I get an email that is like over 3 paragraphs, I never make it to the bottom. So I wanted to make sure that they were fast paced enough, but there was enough information there that I got the story across, but I didn't want too big of chunks. So I had to condense things. I also had to leave out a lot of details that I would have liked to put in. So I got to thinking, even before I finished the whole thing, that I would like to turn this into a graphic novel. So I'm going to be going back and fleshing out. It has a very cinematic quality to it, really, I think. So I think a graphic novel would work well for
I
this.
think this would be a movie. I think that you need to do the graphic novel and then do a screenplay and contact Hollywood, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm not joking. And I have a few contacts out there,
All
so we'll
right.
talk about that in the future. But Victor and I are a very strong opinion that you definitely, at the very least, need to do the novel because this is an incredible story. Um, and you said that you had to like water it down, you know, condense it, not water it down, but
Not
condense
water it
it.
down. Yeah, I
Yeah,
had to leave some things. There was a lot more. What I did was I started with episode 2, and I went from there, and then I went back at the very end and wrote episode 1 because that's where everything starts. And I wanted to make sure that when I was writing episode 1, I left, I put in some clues to what was going to happen later on.
it's
But there were so many things in episode 1. There's actually like a love triangle that doesn't really come out the way it is now, and there was a lot more there. And I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, no, I cannot send 8 pages for the very first episode.
Yeah, no, guys, these episodes are like 1 to 2 pages, and she's saying she condensed it, and I'm just amazed because there's so much detail in these 1 to 2 pages. I mean, you see the story, you actually feel the story, you smell it, you see it. It's like you're in the story. She's just an incredible writer. You really are, Maggie. Um, so I have to know what made you come up with the witch character.
Well, quite honestly, that came out of having to fit the clues into the story. And I was looking at all these clues and I was thinking, wow, if I just involved a witch, I can work in so many things through her.
We
So,
make it all happen. I mean, we
yes,
just
yes,
unlock the universe, right?
we're so versatile.
It's awesome. I was not expecting that to happen in the story, and when her character came in, I was like, that is so freaking cool. You know, how she slips in to the storyline. You know, um, so was there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Uh, I think mainly that I really enjoyed this. It scared me a little bit. Honestly, I have not been a fiction writer. I'm a nonfiction writer. I was a newspaper reporter, and I've been a freelance writer for almost 30 years. But everything that I have ever written before has been I went and interviewed someone, or I went to an event and I wrote about what I saw and experienced. But this is the first time I've ever really written a piece of fiction. So I think either it's beginner's luck or maybe I actually have some ability in that
I
area. I'm
I
not sure.
think I think you're just ready. I think you're ready. You know,
Maybe.
you don't know this, but several people have befriended me through Facebook that are friends of yours.
Oh, okay.
And one of them has said that they have watched you work hard at your writing skill for decades. And she has been watching you do this. And she told me she was so happy and pleased that you got to work with me, and that she was enjoying the story as well. So, you know, you
Yeah.
have a lot of good people around you that have seen you grow, and that made me realize, that you this isn't just, you're not a flash in the pan. You've been working at this for years, your writing skills.
Yeah,
You
I
teach
have.
writing.
But this is, I do. I teach college writing, freshman comp. I teach essay writing mainly, and then I teach research writing. So neither of those are fiction. I don't teach creative writing, but I did go to Goucher College several years ago, where I got a Master of Fine Arts in creative nonfiction. And I think that's really what set this off, because in creative nonfiction, you use the same kinds of techniques that you do in creative writing, in fiction writing, except that everything has to be true. It's based on real happenings and real people and what people actually say. So there's only so much you can do to it, but still, there's a narrative arc. The story moves in a particular direction, timing and chronology and all of that you have in fiction writing. So I think maybe that's what also set it off.
Well, it's amazing.
It was
Um,
fun. It was really fun.
I'm
I got into the habit, which is something that I probably should have done years ago. But in doing this story, I knew, because I have a full-time teaching job and other freelance work, so I had to carve some time out to do this. So I started going to bed early and getting up at 4 a.m. and I gave myself
wow.
2 hours a day to write. And I really came to cherish those 2 hours. It was such a wonderful, and I'm feeling kind of sad now that this is done, although I probably will go back and start, fleshing it out.
I think this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So, real quick here at the end, anything else to share?
Not really.
Okay. So, we're almost at the end of this little video, and I wanted to talk real briefly about my idea. I actually did a loop around the country helping my cousin move some stuff from North Carolina to her new home in Alabama. So it's a lot of driving from Florida, big loop up and over and back. And on that trip, I started brainstorming. I'm getting ready to release a new song for Halloween and Samhain. And instead of just recording the song and saying, here you go, I wanted to do something special. I wanted to do an event around the song, around the music. And that's when, driving those long hours, I started brainstorming and I thought, it would be really cool to run a game, but I'm not a programmer, I don't program video games. So how can I do this? And I came up with, well, just use email, right? And I'm like, well, if it's email, then there's got to be a story. So I came up with the idea of having this episodic, is that a word? Episodic story. And with illustrations, and then having these little games, these little quests, and the quests are really easy. They really are. But I called Maggie up on the phone while I was driving, and I remember offering it to her. And before I even got the sentence finished out of my mouth, she said, yes, I'll do it. So it was like so cool. I mean, like, you just jumped at it. It was like this awesome yes. And I was like, she's really into this. This is great. This is great energy, for the project. So I was so happy you said yes. And of course, our illustrator, Leonora, I'm so happy that she said yes as well. And it's all came together. We've been working on this since August, guys, since August. So that's how the whole idea came about, was when I was driving. And also, I wanted to share a review. If you're listening, Antoinette, I read your review in your comments. I'm going to read it to the folks now. She says, I'm having so much fun doing this quest. I will be sad, and I am sure I'm going to miss it when it's over. Aw, isn't that sweet? So she's like enjoying the game and the story. There's a bunch of people that are. And so, yeah, the secret prize when you get to the end of the story is you get a free download of my new song, which is a zombie song. And I was actually, I almost went live today on Facebook, but I didn't. I was doing my last minute mixing and mastering, the mastering phase of my song. It's come out so good. I'm so pleased with it. It's actually written in a gypsy Argentinian tango feel. So it's really cool and magical sounding. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything else about it. It's a zombie song. That's all I'm going to say. But it is in a gypsy tango feel. And you'll get a free download of it. All you have to do is get on my email list and start playing the game. You can start as long as you begin by All Hallows Eve. So by Halloween, by Samhain, you have to begin. You can actually finish the game into November, but you have to begin the game by October 31st. Also, one last thing before I go. I want to say whoever crosses the finish line first, and there's several people that are already like on episode 10 or 11 out of 13, I would request to actually interview them and congratulate them in a Zoom meeting like I'm doing with Maggie now. So I wanted to not only give them the song, but also, you know, get their impressions and talk to them on video and put that up on my social media. Okay. So thank you so much, Maggie, for your time.
You're very
And, you know, not only this interview / discussion, but also all the time you put into this story. You know, it's really good.
well. Thank you. It was a pleasure to do, and I just loved it, and I'm looking forward to doing more.
Excellent. And we're definitely looking forward to reading more. Definitely. Okay, guys, I'll see you out there. Get on my email list, alexianmusic.com, and you can play too and read Maggie's amazing story. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Blessed be.